everyone, Lucky from IPD here. Today we're looking at our new turboback system for 850 and 70 series model from 1994 through 2000 for front wheel drive models. Now we've got two different part numbers for our kit. So if you've got angle flange turbo that needs an angle flange downpipe, we've got a kit for that. And if you've got a straight flange turbo and you need a straight flange downpipe, we've got a kit for that. Also comes, of course, with the catback section. Catback includes a race downpipe, as well as a catalytic converter that's 200 cell per inch to get good flow out of that, the midsection with the resonator, the back muffler, and our signature IPD logo on the tip. All right, now that we've seen what comes in the kit, let's go over to the car. We'll get a few sound clips, we'll see what it looks like compared to the stock exhaust, and see what kind of the turbo differences there are from straight to angle flange and how you can identify which one you've got.
Here you can see an example of an angle flange downpipe. Notice that the way that the downpipe mounts to the turbo, that it's at an angle from the center line of the vehicle. Now let's look at a straight flange downpipe. Note how the flange on the downpipe is straight to the center line of the vehicle, or parallel, as opposed to the angle on the angle flange downpipe.
Now we found some systems out in the marketplace that were very cost effective, but they suffered from a couple of issues. And one thing we wanted to make sure is that our system didn't have those same problems.
The first thing we noticed was the V-band connections weren't all that well designed and that they would leak very easily even when clamped as tight as they could be. So we've included a fire ring in ours to prevent leaks and allow for long-term trouble-free operation.
But another issue we've seen is they don't have a port for secondary air system. Now for cars that have that, it's critical to keep your check engine light off. So all of our systems have a secondary air port. They also come with a plug, so if your car doesn't have secondary air, you can simply plug it off. Additionally, we've got a proper flex joint in there. We talked about our race cat, 200 CPI high flow cap, so it'll keep your check engine light off and have clean tailpipe emissions. Our exhaust system is a 3-inch exhaust system. It starts at the downpipe, and down about the midsection, it actually necks down to about 2.5. Now the reason we do that is because the exhaust gases, by the time they get that far back in the system, have cooled down and compressed quite a bit. They're more dense, they take up less space. So to help clearances, reduce manufacturing costs, we've actually gone to 2.5 at that point. We utilize all the factory locations for hangers and all that, so all your hangers are going to be the same. And as you follow the exhaust system back, you can see that the fitment is really quite good. It fits just as good as the factory system and provides all the clearance necessary for trouble-free operation. For 850 models, you use your factory rear hanger, but for 70 series models, you'll want to use the included hanger here, as the bumper cutouts in those two cars are different and is necessary for this to clear that 70 series bumper cutout. Another question we've gotten is oxygen sensor's placement. The front O2 sensor is effectively in the same position as stock, but the rear O2 sensor has moved quite a bit rearward, and there's an intention for that. The reason we do that is because of the heat of the catalytic converter, especially if you're running a higher than stock turbo, you got higher boost pressures than stock boost pressures, you're going to create a lot more heat in the exhaust system. And because we have a high flowing system, a lot of that heat goes rearward. So we want to take the O2 sensor and put it far enough backstream that we don't effectively overheat it and cause it to either fail prematurely or not put out a proper signal. So we include an O2 sensor spacer. This allows the wiring to extend back to that mounting location. Just tuck it up here inside the heat shield after you've installed it, and you'll know that your O2 sensor is spaced correctly, you're not going to have check engine lights, and it's going to be a seamless install. And finally, let's address fitment. As we walk back to the car here, we'll find that there's an under panel tray that fits just like this, and as you can see, the fitment to the exhaust is pretty close. So that means it's critical that your exhaust gets installed correctly so that you'll have plenty of clearance. Now, to install it correctly, it really is a function of the downpipe. Now, the 3-bolt flange at the end has a little bit of adjustment in it to let the downpipe move in this orientation like this. So as you pull the downpipe up and tighten it, that will lift the exhaust off that plate. So if you find that you're having interference, loosen up the downpipe bolts, shift it up a little bit, tighten it back down, and that'll allow all the clearance you need. In worst case scenarios, or some cases with chassis have twisted, or maybe the car's been in an accident and things are a little buckled, you can space it out with a few washers. Alright, now that we're out of the shop, let's go hit the streets and get a sense of what the exhaust sounds like when we're cruising under some power runs and a few flybys. Alright, so we're out for a drive. This is our 98 T5 manual car, and as you can get a sense, the exhaust really pretty quiet when you're not getting on the throttle hard. Got a good tone to it, nice authoritative note, really no drone to speak of. It's just easy to drive around. You can take a freeway trip and it's not going to pound your ears up. And now we'll we'll get over to a spot here where it's safe. We'll take a few pass-bys so you get a sense of what it sounds like from the outside of the car and when we're on hard throttle.